Hi, and welcome to Genius Tea Time. Thank you so much for coming and joining me. This is awesome.
Thank you
Uh,
for having me. I'm so honored to be here.
it is a very cool. So this is REBDUCE is what you go by, and where REBDUCE is a queer disabled woman of color, an artist, an activist whose art embodies divine feminine energy and activism for social change, which extends through her nonprofit ARTWATER. For decades, her fine art has focused on figurative drawings and painting of women, abstracted by Fibonacci curves and swirls that explore the natural and the surreal. She uses ballpoint pen, pencil, and watercolor to create stylized figures that play between positive and negative shapes, with themes of balance, sexuality, and liberation. And through Artwater and the $5 Art Party, REBDUCE gathered 3 dozen diverse artists to fundraise for Congo and Palestine and collects gently used art supplies for underserved communities. And we're talking today about how art can bring community and become a catalyst for social change. So, how did you start Artwater? How did that happen?
Ah, that was such a beautiful introduction. Thank
Thank
you. That was so good. I know we worked on it like kind of together, but it still sounded really good.
It's always good. I like to talk you up.
Oh man. So I like to say, well, I forgot to say peace and infinite blessings. So I do want to say,
Do.
because I do wish you all peace and infinite blessing in this life and the next. And so how did I get started with Artwater and the $5 art party, which were born on the same day? At least
Really?
they came into fruition on the exact same day. So our first $5 art party was July 10th, 2027. No, I'm sorry, 2022. But we're gonna go on and on, but 2022. And that was our very first party. And that same day I finished the paperwork for Artwater. So I was like officially registered and got like and paid the fee, whatever it was. And so it does take time, by the way, to register a nonprofit. Okay, so I don't want you to.
Yeah, it does. It
It
can
was
take up.
like,
It can take like a year or more.
yeah, no, it wasn't done that day. It was it was done over quite a few months. There's articles of incorporation and um all kinds of paperwork that but it's not that hard, okay? I just want to say that too. Like it sounds daunting and stuff, but it's like there are a lot of steps and you just do one step after. And so like the final step was basically just submitting it that day and paying. So yeah. And it was so why did I do this? The idea of Artwater and really the $5 art party too. The $5 art party is a front, okay? For it's a front for art supply and fundraiser. No, for real though. It's we need gatherings full of joy. We need
Oh
at
yeah.
art, many of us, especially performative artists, but muralists, we need audiences. We need places and platforms on which to present our works. And so the $5 art party is that, as well as an art supply drive, and as well as raising awareness for social causes like for Congo and for Palestine and other horrible atrocities that are happening across the globe, in Sudan and everywhere. Um, and so when I started Artwater, I did have the idea of creating social change through art, making art that kind of lane for social change. I've always been very conscious, maybe not so much an activist, but deep, in my history, I had this idea that if we could just give people access to art, like the world would be a better place. Yeah, from like a young age, like maybe 17 or so, I was like, we could have create access to art. And I will get into like more. I will tell you some more about that in a second, but I swear I get in the weeds on these things. So the real idea was about access to creative resources to create positive social change. And we know that there are many, many levels of waste throughout. Um, and by levels, I mean on the retail level, on the wholesale level, on the manufacturing level, especially in our specific lane of art supplies, right? Art supplies and creative resources, and especially in Los Angeles, um, especially in the film industry and things like that. So we hope to reclaim resources that would otherwise be wasted from these different stratas of waste in the creative way and get them in the hands of creatives who can need them or who can use them. And so Art Water and the $5 art party's beginnings is in this $5 art party, art supply drive, art experience, and fundraiser. But that's really the beginning of community for which we can build from there a global creative ecosystem that's reclaiming resources on a much larger scale. And we can distribute those through a network of art supply thrift stores. And those thrift stores, I'd like to see one in every neighborhood across the country and across the globe. But why would it stop at a thrift store? You have a brick and mortar space. At night, we do exhibitions. On the afternoons, we do genius tea times and Skillshare environments. Yes. And we have maybe if you consider something like an art library or an art like YMCA, we have equipment. You can use it here, you can check it out, that type of thing, and all from reclaiming resources that would otherwise be wasted. So a global creative ecosystem of art supply, thrift stores, and Skillshare environments that we can really create a better world. That's Art Water.
That is awesome.
I know that was a lot.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, since it's Jeannie's tea time, we're also having tea, and apparently we're both having ginger turmeric today.
Oh, that's so, yeah.
So mine's with some chai spice. Yours is with orange juice or lemon juice?
Mm-hmm. A little bit of orange juice and lemon juice and a little bit of honey.
Nice.
This is my go-to tea. I just almost every day. But there's always like, you want something new. So I want something new. I'm looking for, I'll take recommendations, by the way, on tea. I want to do loose leaves teas, right?
Yeah. I mean,
that's the goal.
Like you can mix this in with a bunch of things. I usually do use chai spices, so there's cardamom, cinnamon, allspice, and cloves that I'll put into it. And then lately I've been putting either rose hips or black currants. Little extra boost to see.
I wonder if I can grow black currants. I just read about it.
I probably. Yeah, like I don't know what the microclimate is for that, but we could look it up. I mean,
Southern California, I feel like everything just grows.
There's a lot of stuff that grows here. Like, it's not as easy to do some of the things that require cold, but you can do it. You can totally do it.
I forgot what. There's a certain type of, I don't know, vegetable or something. I'll figure it out. But
some of the cruciferous don't do as well.
Yeah. They have to have cold in order to make fruits.
Yeah. Some things need some types of fruits need that, some don't. So like certain kind of apples don't do so well here. Like, but we'll figure it out. I do love. Yeah. Where did you grow up around here? Where did you grow up?
No, I'm from Casper, Wyoming.
Oh.
I don't know if I've mentioned that before.
Nope, not for me.
But yeah, okay, so that's great. That's that really, because there was a little bit about my why that comes from Casper, Wyoming. So Casper, Wyoming
really
exists.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. First off, that's a thing.
Such a small. It's kind of like a blip on news and it's happening. There's not that many people in Wyoming. It's the least populous state in the union. I don't know how many people are in the state, but in my hometown there are 47,000 people today. And I think there were 47,000 people when I left. So it just staying right under 50,000. And that is the like second biggest city in Wyoming. The other one is Cheyenne, which I don't know the difference, but it's comparable. Like maybe there's 70,000 people in Cheyenne. And the University of Wyoming is there. But Casper, Wyoming, I grew up there and I left when I was 20. So I spent a good,
a chunk,
half my life there. So I'm 43, by the way. Born in 82. I'm quite proud of that year for whatever reason. And I went to high school at Natrona County High School, which is interesting because so did Dick Cheney. And so,
really?
Yeah.
Well,
I'm not proud of this.
but there you are.
No, I just find it very interesting. So there was another person that I heard about today, and I wonder if I can remember his name, is Reverend, I want to say Reese. Okay. Oh, Reeb, Reverend Reeb, who, so we have this evil penguin-esque villain, real life villain, Dick Cheney, who went to my high school and also went to the college that I graduated from, Casper College. It was Casper Junior College at the time, and they have a picture of him, right? Whatever. But this beautiful human being who was a abolitionist and freedom fighter named Reverend Reeb, who was also born in Casper, Wyoming. Okay, marched with Dr. Martin Luther King, and he also went to Casper College, and was martyred, was killed in Mississippi.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
and I've not heard a word, never heard anything about him in my whole white guy. In case that wasn't obvious, let's see a picture. Let's see a picture.
Wow.
James Reeb. So free. Never heard a word about this dude. His case is still unsolved, or maybe not unsolved, but there's the Department of Justice file. I did a small search on it, whatever. So that's my hometown that has ignored this abolitionist, because they don't have a picture of him at
Interesting.
Really
well,
big,
yeah,
right?
we get to
But
see where their priorities lie, certainly.
their same alum is got a big picture. Well, vice president, martyr for civil rights, murderous genocidal vice president.
Long term.
Bush, for people who don't know or don't remember,
Hint.
also shot one of his colleagues in the face in a duck hunting accident. He lived. The guy lived. I wouldn't laugh.
No.
It was
yeah, I'm trying to remember some of the details of that, but yes, W.
Right. So back to Casper though, and revolution, really, because we really are in the same space, or at least I mean, it's even more imperative. I think not only is it a moral imperative with all that's going on, like in Palestine and other places, but right here, it's the same oppressors, the same imperial forces that Dr. Martin Luther King and Malcolm X came to recognize were global forces. And as soon as that became like a bigger, broader, the conversation broadened to global, was when the state decided to murder both of them. Also, anyways, Malcolm X had just come back from Palestine.
Got it. Interesting.
So back to Casper, my little hometown. My mom still lives there. It's cold as hell in the winter. It's windy too. So I'm good. It's also very homogenous, and they have, they're proud of Dick Cheney. So I don't want to hang out over there. On the other hand, they do have a really strong LGBTQ community, which is lovely. A strong art community too.
Interesting.
Yeah. I actually was a bit of a troublemaker in high school, which led me into
shocking.
A little bit. It led me into a group home, and eventually my high school year, I was in a group home when I was 15 for making too much trouble. And then they said, you know what, they're like, we're gonna let you out, but we don't want you to go home with your mom because of the like single mom family issues. We just think it would be better if you go to foster care. So I ended up going into foster care, and my foster parents were in the LGBTQ community, and they're lovely, beautiful, magical human beings.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, so they helped me get a bunch of scholarships to art schools that I were, and helped me apply to them. And we had to apply on physical paper. Okay, I grabbed 2000. Okay, so when you would you would request the application, sometimes you had to pay a fee. And then sometimes you could get a waiver. So I would always ask for a waiver, but this is not like, you don't just email them, like you're sending letters and things. You might call them. It's kind of an interesting situation, but you can sometimes get that $25 or $50 application fee, and sometimes $75 application fee, even in 1999, right? When I'm getting ready to graduate, which is crazy that you're going to gouge these poor students for fees. But
you can get them waived. It happens.
Did get many of them waived thanks to their names are Dinah and Carolyn. They're lovely humans.
Aw.
And they helped me get through that and apply to all those scholarships and do that whole thing. And we, you know, we wrote them together. We'd ask for 2 applications just in case, because you had to write that in pen. They wanted you to write in pen. So and then all of my artwork. So I've been an artist since I was baby, since I was a little baby.
Oh, wow.
Everyone's an artist, yo. Just not everyone stops. I don't know why people stop. I wonder.
Well, I think sometimes it just doesn't get rewarded in the same way. And that, you know, if you don't get that reward, sometimes it's the, okay, well, what else can I use this for? Meaning, not necessarily money, but like, do you get pleasure out of it? Do your people around you care about it? Do you get compliments? Do you, you know, anything?
Yeah.
But
That's
it's so important for all of us to express ourselves.
right. Well, access to, right? So if you don't have
Yeah. If you don't have it, it's really hard.
right. Which is why my art, or at least I credit my art being like I do a lot of ballpoint. These are like very rare acrylic paintings. I don't think I have any. These are the total 3. That can't be true.
I don't know.
A lot of stuff in watercolor, ballpoint pen and pencil. And that's because those were very accessible to me throughout my entire life. Like especially when you're a little kid, you got these little crappy, shitty watercolor sets with the snub brush, and there's no pigment in any of it. But whatever, you know.
Yeah.
You
You're like
get.
stubbing at it,
I'm
trying to
telling.
break up the cakes.
I'm telling you. We got some now. We got someone donated them. They make much better ones now. And they have like actual points on the brushes and they're pre-moistened cakes. The
Yes.
pigment is still like, you know, it's better, you know, but pigments are expensive and
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
yeah. So
But do you,
oh, go ahead.
oh no, I was going to ask, do you feel like those are the materials you use because those were what were around? Or is that, did you stick with them because like that actually has more appeal for you?
Well, that's an interesting question. It probably was I totally credit to be what I had.
Yeah.
Like, what do you have? I have a pencil. So I'm really good with pencil. I
Mhm.
always had a pencil. Everyone always had paper, like all the time. What wasn't around was paint brushes and paints, period. Like, nobody gave me a set of paints. Nobody bought me a set of paints. Do you know what I mean? No offense, mom, right? Like, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? I just didn't have, right? And we were poor growing up. Like we were low income. We were on food stamps till whenever my mom got us off food stamps, which I know was a big deal for her. Like she really, that was a big goal for her, and like she was happy to do that. Um, and I can understand that. Um, I think that, but is there appeal to it? Yeah. And then, but then, even though you didn't ask this, is there's part of the appeal is the just expertise, right? You're
Of
just
course.
you just know how to do it. It's like second nature, right? Like this is just easy. It's too easy. Just scribble some stuff and then scribble some more stuff and then refine those scribbles and then you're Gucci. Even watercolor, like watercolor is pretty hard. I think a lot of people agree that watercolor is pretty hard because you can't erase and it's kind of like permanent and things like that. And it is, and I agree that it is hard, but I just did a lot of it. And I don't even have tons of watercolor paintings, but I do feel pretty comfortable with watercolor. Like I like it. It's fun. So that's my inclination. That's what like I'm good at it, so I'm gonna do that. And I'm actually going to school right now, so I'm having fun studying other things.
What are you studying now?
Well, last semester I took a jewelry class, so that was brand new.
Nice.
We enjoyed that. I'm taking my 3rd ceramics class. So it's been a few semesters now, so that's lovely. And I've taken ceramics before and I excelled in ceramics and it was good, but again, accessibility, right? Especially with ceramics.
Yeah. Well,
Like,
that's a lot of equipment.
yeah. And if you find, maybe you can find a studio, it might cost a certain amount of money to access the kiln and things like that. So there's definitely like, and so at a young age, I recognized this limit of access. And
Mm-hmm.
I had a high school teacher. He was really my inspiration for what would eventually become Artwater. So it wasn't Artwater when I was 17 or whatever. It
Mm-hmm.
was gonna be something, I don't know, ground work or ground movement, something like this. And then my brother, it was really my brother's idea, but it came from my teacher, Mrs. McCaddy. And Mrs. McCaddy is like a perfect art teacher. Do you know what I mean? Like her hair's a little wonky. She's got kind of thicker glasses, and she's just like, we had to do life drawing. She's like, just I remember one time she's like, just be like molasses. You know what I mean? She's just cool art teacher, right?
Oh,
It
fun.
was great. Um, and she furnished that school with a entire computer lab by writing for grants by herself. Now I'm like 17, 16, 17, right? Like I don't quite know what grants are. I don't quite understand how that works. But she didn't get asked to do this. Nobody, she did it on her own, right? On her own time, learned how to write grants, wrote for grants, got the money, and furnished the school with a computer lab. And this is Photoshop 3 or 4 or 5, right?
Yeah, yeah.
This
Like
way
early
before there
one.
was even such thing as a subscription model. You had a disc, you know what I'm saying? But it was like Photoshop 3. Illustrator was like just coming out. They didn't have any of the other stuff that they have, like 55 different programs now. But it was amazing to watch. And interestingly, I didn't get into digital art at the time at all. I rejected it completely. I was like, fuck all that. Like I'm painting over here. So I remember one of my biggest pieces I did, I had like a block of 3 hours of just art making for whatever reason. Like I had maybe like an art class, and then I had just a chunk of time where I could just sit there and paint. And I did it in the computer lab, but not using the computers. Like I had like a little, cubby, a little booth of my own. I used to watch Jon Stewart on Daily Show every freaking day. This is long, long time ago too. We're talking like 99, 98, 99. Anywho, so I didn't use any of this equipment, but I had lots of friends who did. It was really amazing to see the things that they were making. She also had printer machines that could do big ass prints. So these people were able to create amazing digital art, digital like kind of like inner, like one dude made like a game, like kind of inside a castle, and you could walk through and walk down. It was really cool, right?
Fun.
Yeah. And so long story long, that was like so amazing to me to see that she could, and especially now with what I know now. So at 17, I was impressed, right? Okay, let's try to create like a computer lab that everyone could access, just like Miss McCaddy, right? And like
Yeah.
instead of people paying, they would like do designs for like nonprofits and like churches and stuff. So we'd be like, it'd be like kind of cyclical. That
Mm-hmm.
was like little 17-year-old idea. Like we'd create some kind of system, right? And then like if the nonprofit is able, they would give us a little bit of money, but that would really just go back into the nonprofit. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So as time went on, I lived my whole life, right? Like I moved from Wyoming to Oregon and then to LA. I got a job. I worked at the job forever. So I'll get into that in a second. But Artwater came about after that career went on hold due to my MS, which is the disability that I have.
Mm-hmm.
So I worked at that career from like 2004 to like 2016. I went on disability leave that ended up being forever. I expected it to be like a year or a few months, really. But now, so like 2021, I moved back to LA for, well, I skipped over some parts, but that's okay because I'm really focused on Artwater. So
It's all
Artwater
good.
out because Mrs. McCaddy had a great idea. And how many thousands of students? Imagine that.
Yeah.
Tens of thousands of students in little bitty Casper, Wyoming, who would have never touched a Photoshop.
At all.
Why would they? How would they?
Yeah.
Right? Get access to it all through their high school years. I mean, essentially, if you wanted, right? 15, 16, 17, right? So that's pretty impressive. And some of the students did take advantage of this, right? Like it's funny because like now I'm a graphic designer and stuff, but I was really not into it.
Oh.
But I saw what she did, and I thought it was really amazing. So all the while, this idea of like, how can I give access to creative resources? And at my job, I worked at a commercial printer in Glendale.
Mm.
Now, at the end of my career, so I worked there from 04 to 2016, like 14 years, something like this. My math's a little off, but I take into account that leave time. Like I still was employed even though I was on leave. But there was tons of waste there. Tons and tons of waste. And I was in product development, so we tested out a lot of different paper products. Now the paper product worked out great. We use the test paper and we just go ahead. But not, let's say if you test 5 papers, only one of them gets a cut. So what do you do with the rest of that test paper? Well, Reb would put it in her car if she could, if it would fit, and paint on it and draw on it. And I have some framed paintings and drawings that are on some of that test paper because this is brand new virgin paper, sticker paper, linen paper, fine like pearlescent papers. And so there was an area of waste in the I couldn't put pallets of paper though in my car. So what if we had a way to take that? Not only that, at my job, we started doing t-shirts. This was another big like eye-opener of the waste, because this is a big print manufacturer, right? Big commercial printer. And they have, when I started, there was one location, little 75 employees in Glendale. Now I don't know how many employees. When I left, it was over 1,000 and 7 or 8 locations across the country, one in Toronto, which I helped start up these facilities. Like I was at one point a production coordinator. So I made like a production startup manual and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I gave them my goodies, them guys. But we started doing t-shirts. Okay, we're going to do t-shirts. Great. We got a t-shirt machine. We're going to test out some t-shirts. We must have tested, I don't know, 500 t-shirts that just are waste now. Why? I don't know. I wasn't in that department. I'm not, it seems like a lot of waste. But now we have a bunch of t-shirts. What do we do with them? Well, you give them to ARTWATER maybe, but there was no ARTWATER at the time. But we ended up paying someone to recycle them, basically. You can't take, like, if you have such a mass amount of stuff, industrial waste, you can't just take it to like Goodwill, right?
Yeah.
A truckload of t-shirts. What are they supposed to do? Not to mention that 15% of things actually get resold at Goodwill. And the rest of
maybe.
Maybe. And the rest of it hits the shores of Accra, Ghana, or the deserts
or Brazil, or
in Chile. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it just gets dumped, and some more recently just caught fire. That was fun.
Or they do it on purpose.
Yeah,
they set it fire on purpose.
Yeah, which is bad for literally everybody. But yeah, there are other uses for all of that. Yeah, especially swag of all kinds is such an incredibly intense waste stream.
I can't. It's funny because ironic, whatever you want to call it. I am proud, very proud. Like, I guess the only merch thing I have is stickers, which stickers are like pure plastic. What are you gonna do? I like stickers, but even like this shirt, somebody printed it for me. But like my artwork on shirts is a very rare thing. I have, if you want, you can actually order one, but I don't tell anyone. Like I have 1 or 2 designs on something, one of these print on demand things, right?
Got it.
And I ordered maybe 10 shirts once, passed them out to people. They were shitty quality too, so I was really upset about it. How was I supposed to know, right? And then I gave them away, but I had one and it ended up being garbage. Oh, a sticker mule, by the way, I don't mind saying. Fuck them guys. And if you don't know, the story behind Sticker Mule is great. How much time do we have? That shit's funny.
We got time. We got time.
Quick, okay, so Sticker Mule is...
So they do print on demand.
They advertise all crazy, right?
Yeah.
Have you ordered from them ever?
I have not.
Okay, so Trump is on his way to be president, which we wouldn't know, right? It's like October, right? And Sticker Mule decides that they're going to put their skin in the game and email their entire customer list talking about Trump's our boy. We all know what we're going to do. Right, everybody? Kind of sort of deal. Like, I still have the email, but he's basically like, this is our guy. We need to do the right thing in November. To his entire and it's signed by the president of Sticker Mule or whatever, right? CEO.
Wow.
It's unbelievable, right? So Instagram loses its shit, right? By creatives, all kind of creatives talking about that company sucks. I'm totally done. Can't believe this guy's supporting a rapist, convicted, all these other things that, because like they're using facts that are like because there's tons that we don't know yet, but we know the Epstein stuff, the fucking pedophile stuff. But okay, fine. So
There's plenty of stuff that's already out there, and you could just believe the victims.
Just listen to the victims. It pisses me off so bad.
But yeah, but there's so many other great resources now for stickers.
Oh well, duh. I found
now you know.
But he doubled down the next day. He got heat from the internets and doubled down the next day with another email.
Wow.
Like, I'm pretty sure there's something like there are legal issues with a business advocating for a candidate and then, but like, okay, you could probably advocate for a candidate, but to use your customer list, I'm pretty sure that's some violation. I'm pretty sure that's illegal. We didn't sign up to be politically swayed, right? We signed up for stickers.
Most of you, I'm sure, signed up for stickers.
So that's the sticker rule. Yeah.
Interesting. So, okay.
But so for the most part, I've stayed pretty far away from merch. I guess if I ever did do any kind of t-shirt merch, it would be used shirts, or you know what I mean, vintage shirts, whatever. So used shirts, and either just reprint over the print that's there if I was gonna print, or just hand drawn everything. That's my idea for really the longest. Just everyone will just get a 1-to-1 drawing on a t-shirt if you want a REBDUCE shirt. I refuse to contribute. No judgment to my friends yet, but it's coming.
I know Patagonia, you know who he is, the drag queen, drag queen's been doing that. It's just printing the merch on old shirts, on either reused dead stock that didn't work or from thrift store ones, which I think is brilliant. Like, there's no reason why not.
Oh yeah, Patagonia, the drag queen. Yeah, I saw that too, and I was very excited about that because it just meant integrity to me.
Yeah, and also what a good basic idea. Like, if you want to get your information out there, totally, merch helps. It does, but that really sets the tone nicely.
I agree. I feel like it's kind of the only way. Oh, I was thinking, oh, maybe you can help me with this. And I mean, not for the $5 art party. So $5 party's coming next Saturday, but it would be cool to have ARTWATER. I saw some other t-shirts at a used art store, and they were like fabric letters.
Totally doable.
Like a little patch. And so it could just be like ARTWATER. Or maybe like our logo. It'll be dope. I already know how it's gonna look. You just gotta. Maybe you can help me.
I can probably help you talk
a little bit because I'm not so good at it.
It's okay. Like, this is also something that you can do. Like, you can actually get the Tricia iron-on printers things, so you can get the logo onto whatever fabric you want. So you can get that iron on, get that print, and the whole thing, so you can get any of the details of the letters and then apply it. I think that actually might work, because sometimes, you do those in t-shirts and it doesn't quite work out. But if you do it based on fabric and then you apply it, totally works.
Yes. Yes.
Right? And then you can do that, however many times you can fit onto the sheet, right? And then just put them in a bunch of different places. And then, yeah, totally. Yeah, I actually just turned, there's a dance troupe that I work with, an adaptive dance troupe that works with dancers who, both disabled and non-disabled, so sometimes makes outfits for them and for their devices, like their canes or their crutches or walkers. But I used all their old t-shirts that didn't work to make some jumpsuits for the next program.
Nice.
So sometimes you just gotta use what's there. It's material, right? It's
right. And this is what I think it could be. Like, this is it's a mindset too, that I'm so happy that you and I both share. That what can I do different? Like, instead of just going out and buying something or whatever. Like, because that's kind of the last thing I want to do in my train of, like, how do I solve this problem?
Yeah.
Where many people, I think it's the other way. It's instantly like, let me throw this away and go get, like, where can I buy the new? So I'm very happy to have that similarity. It's imperative, I think, as well, as be like our moral imperative to speak out about against genocide and Holocaust. It is our imperative to save our planet. And
It's the only one we got here.
That's what I try to, for me, I can't not. I mean, I talk about Palestine a lot. There's also Sudan, which is awful, and all the rest. And so sometimes I say to people, I say, okay, just for a second, like, it's even hard for me to say, like, forget about Palestine for just a second. But okay, because a lot of people don't care or whatever. Okay, fine. Let us not think about that for a second. Let us think about the imperative, like the whales quit singing. You heard? And I have this tiny garden, right? Like I got tomatoes and stuff. There's cherry tomatoes that keep making flowers and they will not get pollinated. They won't. There's no bees, and I'm sad. It's less than even earlier this summer, less than last summer. And this is noticeable, like very sad about this. It's fuck. And then people are just like, hoop-de-doop-de-doo. Like, I mean, I'm not saying you need to be upset all the time. I look at me, I'm a laugh and joke, and I make art, and I bring people together for joyous things. And even though like half of the time or maybe more, I am overwhelmingly aware of the suffering that is happening, I really do spend many of my days smiling.
Well, I think that it's important. Like, it's interesting. Yep, to ignore everything isn't helpful, but to only wallow in misery doesn't help either, because then you can get nothing done. Nothing happens. So it's figuring out that balance for you, whatever that is that works. But yeah, it's real talk. I remember, of all things, right summer before the election, which was, it's a weird time. One of probably the first times I feel okay about maybe the last time I'll feel okay about going traveling cross country by car.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because that's going to be an interesting thought to what that will mean. But even some basic things, because we're traveling through some real small towns that are pretty much barren. And I think that they're blaming all the wrong people, first off. But if you're going through fields and fields of corn and soybeans and you're getting almost no bugs on the windshield, something is wrong. That didn't ever used to happen.
Never.
Like,
no.
something is
wrong. You would
wrong.
have to go from the next time you got gas, you would have to wash your windshield.
Yeah, because it would be, you'd have to.
Filthy.
Yeah.
And if you forgot, you'd be like, damn it, what was I thinking?
What was I thinking?
This thing isn't gonna cut it.
Like nothing is working, and like there's not enough bugs to even wash off. I'm like, that's a lot of pesticides.
Alarming.
That's terrifying. And there were literally fires from coast to coast. I'm going, there were fires from California. There's all the fires that were happening in Canada, and they're the ones that are happening, in Canada and upstate New York at that point. And it was like, holy crap.
That's crazy.
Wow.
So how do we change the world, right?
Yeah, and
change the world one fucking party at a time.
And sometimes that's what you need to do. So even just get people to pay attention. Like, it's easy to get caught up, like, and like, this is what I'm worried about today. But yeah, we don't pay attention to some of this stuff. And it's like, okay, what happens when your plants can't get pollinated? You screwed.
I tried to.
That's everybody. That's everybody.
Where are we? Like, where are we? So here's my like hopeful advice or whatever, is to just continue to like nurture those small things. Like,
yeah, you got to.
You've got one basil plant, keep that fucker alive. And now
make sproutlings from it. You can actually make more.
There you go. Now you're talking. And give them to your neighbors. And first, you've taken yourself out of the basil capitalistic market completely. Forever. You're free from basil market. All the exploitation, who knows? The pesticides, we don't know. But
we don't know. But you can grow your own.
One tiny way. And basil's really pretty easy to grow, by the way.
Yep. A
You
lot of
keep it
things
warm.
like eating it, but the things you can do, there are the ways you can handle it.
And then you can share it, right? Propagate it.
Yeah.
Oh, and now all your neighbors are free from the basal capitalistic system, right? It's a small liberating thing. And
Yeah.
you've maybe, who knows, I guess when you a teaspoon of soil has like, a trillion microbes or something like this. So there, you've created
Yeah.
like an ecosystem literally by the basil and escaped capitalism through basil. Like it's small,
In
but
a
it's
tiny, tiny thing on your window shield. It's like it doesn't have to be. I think, look, we all want to be like, to do really great things. I think everybody wants to do that. But sometimes great things come from tiny stuff.
like basil or
Yeah.
whatever. It could be a flower. Like
Yeah.
maybe you don't like basil. Like rosemary is really good. It grows like
I'm a
within
fan. I'm a
yeah,
fan. And it grows here everywhere.
everywhere. So nobody's like everyone's fine.
Yeah,
That's
but I love foraging for it in the neighborhood.
and it's beautiful. They have
I know.
flowers.
They're gorgeous.
So
And they
they're
make your house smell amazing.
amazing.
Because
What else? Mint is way easy, but you got to keep it separate from stuff.
it will take over. The
I made
mint.
that mistake in my little herb thing, and it was
The
all
mint colonization.
it
Bum,
was.
bum, bum.
It was, but you learn quick. I have my mint segregated with
Or rather than the mint empire taking over the entire backyard.
imperial mint.
Bum, 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 bum.
Oh, that's so funny.
Wandering around. I'm imagining stormtroopers in mint green.
Right? Like they have little arms. Like there'll be like celery marchers. They have different. They're different. They
You're
have
good.
different jobs. Like
You're good. But yeah, I
so,
mean,
what I'm growing right now is tomatoes from
nice.
an heirloom tomato that's seeded inside of its own tomato. Okay, yeah, and it was
Cool.
open. I was like, what? And it had a little sprout or sprouted, and I was like, can I even eat that? Because I still wanted to eat it. And so the TikTok was mixed, but I ate it, except for a slice. Man,
It's a slice. It's got seeds.
sprouted greens and stuff. I ate it, but
Yeah.
I took the slice and I put it in the ground. But I was smart about separating them because there was a lot of them.
Oh yeah.
So I separated them out, and then now I have 3 plants. Actually, one died, so now I have 2 plants that like lived. Then the cherry tomatoes, same thing, but it was more like I literally was eating cherry tomatoes, and like I wiped, like one did the thing, and I was like, oh my god, I already have a paper towel full of seeds. So I did that, and then they're growing just like, well, hopefully they'll get pollinated. I don't know. Lots of
Yeah.
flowers, no tomatoes. And then I have a bunch of cherry or sweet bell peppers, same like from seeds also. So it's a ton of those because that time I did not separate the seeds, and I had like 50 seeds, and like 20 of them worked. And so that was fun separating the plants. So at the moment, I probably have 8 pepper plants.
Nice.
I gave some away, but yeah, it's pretty good.
So yeah, maybe some bee loving flowers or something like that.
That's what I was thinking. I saw some flowers or some bees today, which is very nice. Like 3 or 4 or 5 of them.
Nice.
And some butterflies and stuff. And then the sprinklers, they just fixed the sprinklers. So like their bugs also want water too. So there's like they
need a thing.
congregated by the new water because they fixed the fucking sprinklers finally. So hopefully that'll stay fixed.
That will help. That will help a lot.
So how we change the world is gardening. Very simply. I also believe conversations like this are extremely important. And I think more and more conversations should happen around what we care about. So about creativity, about art, about our own lives, about our histories, and also how those intersect with, global issues and even like statewide issues, like on all different levels. So we can we gotta keep doing that. Keep having conversations, more of these. I think more people should be having more conversations like this.
Absolutely.
Just cherish the ones that we have. And then like remember what are we here for? Like, are you here to like digest food? because a lot of people are doing just that, right? Let me get a nicer box, a nicer car, a nicer this, so I can eat better food that I can shit out later. Like it's pretty, pretty. Um,
I mean, it's an option. I
well, that
mean,
was my existence before, like when I worked at my job, right? Like it was just go to work, eat, drink, sleep, go to work, eat, drink, sleep, go to work. And even though I had made some art and it was cool and stuff like that, and I showed my art here and there, I I feel so lucky. Not just that I don't work, that's small potatoes. You got to trade your who I don't know if I would even trade it. Like trade your health for not having to work. I
yeah.
live, by the way, in Section 8 housing. I get food stamps and student loans, which are loans to survive. That is how I survive in 2025. REBDUCE.
Yeah,
Getting those
there.
student loans. My check should be here any day now.
All right. Well, here's to that. And here's to getting you some funding. I think that's the other thing, another thing that will be great to talk about. Like, how do we have conversations about how we figure out funding so that we can stay afloat in the best ways possible?
Yeah. I've been well, so if we're gonna close out there, that's a good place to close,
Yeah.
which is check Artwater out on or it's called Idealist. Sorry, bought by someone else.
Mm-hmm.
So idealist.com, you can search for Artwater and you'll find a bunch of volunteer opportunities there, including a grant writer. If you know how to grant write really well, if you could help us build out our impact statements and you can help us create a proposal, that would be amazing. Please check out Artwater on Idealist. We have a link tree, which is in all of our socials as well. So artwaterlife.com, but also Artwater Life on all the socials. And then there's our link tree right there.
Nice.
The first things in our link tree are for Congo and Palestine. We're raising money for Focus Congo, which is an amazing on the ground organization working with all types of folks, like from babies all the way up to elderly folks in Congo. And then the Rammun Foundation in Palestine. They're also on the ground. They take the donations, they get them to the people who are on the ground in Congo. These are not NGOs. These are just regular people that live in Palestine and want to help, are surviving a genocide. And they are a group of people who work with the Rammun Foundation. Take those donations, buy whatever is available, which we all know is almost nothing, at exorbitant, ridiculous prices. And then they manage to cook meals for, I think they're serving 400 or I think 400 families a day.
Wow.
That's pretty amazing. And then, so if you want to support Rammun Foundation, you have like a big stipend. Like I'm coming through with a big student loan pretty soon. I might do this. You could get a whole truck of water, a whole freaking truck of water for like $300, and you would be the water for that day. Could you even imagine?
Wow.
You could
That's some,
literally save a life. So
yeah.
tap in.
Yeah, absolutely. And so this is on Instagram and this is on Facebook
Yeah,
and this is on artwater.com,
artwaterlife.com.
artwaterlife.com.
Artwater life, because art is life and water is life.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for doing this. This is amazing. And yes, here's to getting all of the help so that you can get all the funding you really properly need to do this.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. And then let me not forget that the $5 art party is coming up. I don't know when I'll post all this stuff, but I want you to be there. If
Okay.
you
And
can
this is
make
on,
it.
I would love to. This is on the 27th, right?
Yes, it's Saturday, September 27th, 12 to 6 at Tierra de la Culebra Art Park in Highland Park, Los Angeles. So do check us out, artwaterlife.com.
It is a beautiful little park. If you haven't ever been there or don't know anything about it, it's an art park that's been started by and run by artist activists for a long time, right? I
Yep,
mean,
and
wasn't it at least since the 90s?
yep, 91. It was founded by artist and activist Tricia Ward,
Hmm.
uh, who guerrilla style cleaned up this dumping lot. She didn't get any permission, cleaned it up, and eventually she did get some, help from the Department of Cultural Affairs and AmeriCorps, got some volunteers and made it into the beautiful 1 acre garden park that it is today.
It's a really sweet spot. So, and that Reb always brings in Got live muralists and vendor spaces, some people who've got some really great foods and drinks, and a lot of DJs and musicians. So,
Oh yeah, we
so
have
who do you have this time?
huge lineup this time. It's like the biggest. So we're celebrating 3 years. So our water life is 3 years old.
Happy birthday.
So proud. And it's 3 years of our mission to elevate art for wellness, human connection, and social change. And we're doing that through by giving access to creative resources and creating platforms for artistic expression, like the $5 art party. And we're so proud to be able to bring together. I think we have 8 different musicians. There's a really amazing. There are 2 special guests. The Harriet Tubman Center for Social Justice
Oh,
will be
wow.
speaking. Yeah, I'm so excited to hear them speak. They have been fighting the occupation of LA since June, but I think they've been around since maybe even the late 90s, the Harriet Tubman Center. And so they're a pillar of
Cool.
resiliency here in Los Angeles. And then Folk for Philistine is going to be joining us. They will be singing and providing Palestinian food. So I'm very excited to have them.
Neat.
And we also have food by the Tamale lady. So we have Mexican food and Palestinian food, which I think at this time
Nice.
is a beautiful marriage of folks who are,
Especially right now.
yeah, who are experiencing the oppression of the state in the heaviest of ways. So yes. Oh, and we have elotes too. I
Oh,
just booked them.
also delicious.
So we should be helping someone be doing a vendor buyout, which I just got like confirmation of like today. So
Mm,
the idea is I think
very
his name
cool.
Armando will be coming with his delicious elotes and esquites, which is street corn. And hopefully that we'll be able to raise enough money to buy him out so he'll be able to have free corn. We'll so donate, yeah, like so donate to him. Yeah.
And donate and get some street corn, which is
Yeah.
amazing and delicious. So if you have not tried this, this is it's quintessentially LA and Mexico.
Yeah.
It's amazing. You just
It's
should do it.
it should. You should do it. And then
Yeah.
hopefully you can get it for a reasonable price, if not free.
Yes.
But
That'd be
free.
amazing. So we'll just see how that goes.
It's gonna be so dope. I'm so happy that you took the time